Vimal Kejriwal, Managing Director and CEO of the company, joins us right now on the show. And the reason why the stock may not be too excited is because now the street expects this as the very least from them. Mr. Kejriwal, it's a tough spot to be in. You deliver good numbers, and yet the street is not excited because the street expects this and more from you. But tell us to your mind, did the quarter live up to expectations, particularly in the revenue growth? Because the bottom line growth was okay, margins are okay, revenue growth 11%, slightly less than what you anticipated, or in line?
So Neeraj, aisa hai, dil mange more. You can keep on
exactly
asking more. Okay. No, I think what you said was exactly right. We have talked about a 15% annual growth. And typically Q1s have always been slightly lower. If you look at our Q1 numbers for the last 5 years, they've been around 19-20% of our annual numbers. And what happens is in this business, most of the people try to push as much revenue, as much supplies in Q4. So Q1 in terms of collections, in terms of revenue, always is slightly lower. This quarter, we were expecting it to do more. Let me be very honest with you. I think the continued problems of labor, which are now getting resolved, and also a little bit of payment issues in water, etc., that brought our growth down. Otherwise, I think we should have done 13-14%, if not 15.
Got it. I mean, so one is the execution, two is the inflow as well, right? Your order intake was presumably down 27% YOY. Now, is this also something that gets resolved, or is it that after a very hectic last 12 to 18 months of order inflows, things are kind of slowing down a bit?
So let's just look at some of the numbers. Today, my order book is around 34,000 and odd.
Yeah, agree.
And my L1 is more than 6,000. So in all, I'm sitting on 40,000 crores of numbers, orders, which I have roughly. Okay. This 6,000 also will get converted very quickly. Some of them should get converted in a week or 10 days, or maybe I think within the next 1 month or so. I think most of these will get converted into orders. Okay. So one is, I don't think we are worried about this part of it. The second piece is, yes, we have been seeing some slowdown in the order intake happening from the India T&D. I think more so because people are just trying to recalibrate, even the CE, and everyone's looking at all the, where are the renewable plants coming, what are getting delayed and all that, what needs to prioritize, because people are a little bit struggling on execution because of volume of work. So I think there is some prioritization happening, and there's a huge queue of tenders and orders to be given. So I don't think we should read much into this right now. No.
Mr. Kejriwal, hi. Mahima also joining in. I was seeing the highlights of your con call, and I saw that your tender pipeline that you were talking about is roughly 1,800 billion right now, and that's divided into T&D as well as your civil, etc. So just want to get a sense as to how much of a conversion rate you're seeing from there, from that 1,800 billion.
So typically what happens is if you look at T&D, it will be anything. Earlier it used to be more 15 to 20%. Now the volumes are growing. So maybe 10-12% is what normally gets converted. So our T&D was around 90,000 is the order tender pipeline. So 9-10,000 more should come in, in the T&D piece of it. Civil and all that, the competition is very different. So I'll not be able to hazard a guess as to what will happen. But overall, we had said this year that we should have an order intake of around 30,000 crores. I think we are pretty okay with the trend line of what we have already got, the L1s and the tender pipeline. I think we should be able to achieve our numbers.
Even in terms of the Kavach space, you did mention that it's not growing at the pace that you wanted to grow, but you've said that there will be improvement going forward. What's the outlook like for that particular space?
See, the reason why I made that statement is that, there's too much of electronics in this business. And we are seeing some struggle at the vendor end in supplying everything in time. Maybe the business is growing too fast for their capacities. They had been waiting for quite a few years. So we are slowly seeing new players coming in, new capacities being added. So the execution will pick up, and based on that, the orders will pick up. Because what the railway is seeing is that the current orders are not getting executed at the required pace. So which is why they are holding back, I think in my view, some new orders. So of late, there have been some tenders which have been released. So there will be a pickup, not at the desired pace, but it is picking up.
Okay. Mr. Kejriwal, just a word ahead again on, I'm just taking the clock back to the order pipeline, and we know that the targets set by the government for FY30 are fairly strong. I heard you say that don't look too much into the first quarter, pull back because the eventual number looks okay. You expect FY26 ordering activity to be as robust as FY25 has been, or is it difficult to forecast that right now?
So, Neeraj, if you look at the global piece, global order intake,
Right.
where I play, I think it should be there or maybe more. That is why we have increased the order intake target from 25,000 to 30,000 crores. Clearly, I think apart from India, where government has increased the target of renewables from 500 gigawatt to 600 gigawatt, and right now I think we have quoted for almost 19 or 20 NTPC renewable projects in our renewable business. So, for all of those projects, if they come up, you'll require large transmission lines. But apart from that, if you go to Middle East, especially Abu Dhabi, UAE, and Saudi, the number of tenders which we are seeing is just unimaginable. When you look at the tender pipeline, India is 30,000 crores, internationally 60,000 crores on the T&D part. So I think we are quite happy with what we are seeing, whether it comes from India or whether it comes from international market. I don't think it bothers us too much that way.
It is not an issue. There could be a quarterly change here or there, but the larger pipeline for now still seems to be pointing northwards.
Absolutely right.
Got it. I have one follow-up question, Mr. Kejriwal. Sometime back when we had spoken, you had said that while this is the best time of the business to be in your 22 years, labor issues certainly stood up. I heard you say that some of that is getting resolved. Is it conclusive enough, or is it difficult to say whether labor will cease to be a problem?
So I think there are two or three things which are happening. One is, for the time being, I am seeing labor issue getting resolved. We had a 30% shortfall. Now it's come down to 10%. We were able to get a lot more people. Now, is that I'll say permanent trend line? I am not very sure. What has also happened is that from June onwards, you don't have any major festival. Okay, so Holi is behind you, Eid is behind you. So next, uh, you'll see people going out maybe near Chhat Puja or something. So that's one part. We are still not very sure that has a permanent influx or no. But what is also happening is that we are also changing the way. Let's say we are hiring people. We have started using aggregators. People like Quest and other people who have got a lot of labor with them. We're also using a lot more large subcontractors who have their own dedicated pool, etc. And also at the end of it, I think all the EPs are realizing that they probably need to have more better living standards and everything for all the workers, etc. Why should the workers go back, etc. So I think a lot of things are happening, a lot of action is happening on 3 or 4 different fronts. And hopefully this should result in a sort of a permanent solution. And lastly, what I would like to add is that a lot of work is also happening on mechanization and automation. So with volumes growing up, do we need to grow labor in the same proportion, or can we, some way use equipment to increase the productivity of labor? Whereby, let's say I use a plastering machine. So instead of having 10 masons, maybe can I use them with 4 masons and a plastering machine, so they can take care of the increased volume. I think a lot of steps are happening at various levels. So I think we are finally seeing some light at the end of the day on the labor issue.
Okay, Mr. Kejriwal, thank you so much for giving us those insights, and thank you so much for taking our time and speaking with us at NDTV Profit.